Good morning. I think it still is. And welcome to a chapter a day. Yes, it's not yet 12, so I'm still in time to say good morning. It is Tuesday, March the 12th. And I hope you guys are having a great day because it is a beautiful day on this side of the world. So, I am going to be reading from Genesis 21 today. Yesterday we read 20 where God was speaking to the children of Israel. I guess what they heard were thunders and I'm not sure if there were lightnings also, but they were kind of afraid and they didn't want God to speak to them anymore. They were afraid they would die. So they told Moses, you know what, Moses, you go talk to God and come back and relay to us, but don't let God talk to us. It's just too much. That's to tell you how mighty God is. And I'm sure he wasn't even showing up in his full divinity, his full potential. But in order for them to have withstood, even for Moses to have withstood, not falling dead from his presence, he brought it to them the way he did. He gave them the 10 commandments which make up the law of God, which are still binding today, all 10. None has been rescinded. And he also told them about making an altar to him whenever they want to sacrifice. Let it be of earth, or if it's of stone, do not use a tool on it. Just use the whole stone and maybe pile them one on the other. So now they have God's instructions. Let's see what happens next in Exodus 21. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. And if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. And if he do not these 3 unto her, then shall she go out free without money. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die. And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or 2, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished. according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if a man smite the eye of his servant, or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he might smite out his manservant's tooth, or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. If an ox gore a man or woman that they die, then the ox shall surely be stoned, and his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push with his horn in time past, and it hath been testified to his owner, and he hath not kept him in, but that he has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. Whether he have gored a son or have gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done unto him. If the ox shall push a manservant or a maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit, and not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good, and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. And if one man's ox hurt another's, that he die, then they shall sell the live ox, and divide the money of it, and the dead ox they shall divide. Or if it be known that the ox hath used to push in time past, and his owner hath not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own. And that's the end of the reading of Exodus 21. So the recap of this is that God is giving judgments. He gave his law, and now he's giving judgments for specific areas of these Israelites living concerning servants. Now I know a lot of people have said that the Bible substantiates or supports slavery. I would say this: things have been put in place from way before Jesus came. People were enslaving each other to the point where laws were made in order for those people to be treated fairly. It does not mean it was supporting, just like a man who was supposed to have one wife but ended up with 300. It was not supporting, it was giving instructions for something that was put in place, not of God's doing. God is that merciful. He could say straight up, get rid of all these women, you should have one. But he worked along with the people because they were born into these situations. And then later on, when Jesus came, and I think even before Jesus came, it started to change because people started observing God's law. Remember, God is trying to bring a bunch of heathen people into a group that would be his people. So there are things already in place. They came out of Egypt. Egyptians had slaves. They hardly maybe did the work themselves. They were accustomed to slaves, and they may have even frowned on how should I say, on servile work, working as servants. So there's a law for the master as to how he is to deal with his servants, and it is very fair. The masters were not supposed to ill-treat the servants, and they were supposed to let them go after 6 years. 7th year, you let them go. If the man didn't want to go, then he pledges to become his masters for life, and that's fine. And it will be shown by a symbol with the boring of the ear with an awl. I'm thinking maybe that's where earrings came from. Now we do it like a fashion statement. Back then it was to show that you were somebody's slave. In addition to that, there were laws for stealing, laws for killing someone by mistake, what we call manslaughter. But then if it was straight off intentional, that was also the penalty or judgment for that was given also. If a man hurt a woman who was pregnant, if she lost a baby, he had to pay her husband and her. Or if not, nothing happened and they didn't wish to pursue it, then that was another statement. If your animal killed someone, or if your animal fell into another person's pit, all of these things today that we should be still very concerned about, we maybe are not as concerned. Somebody's dog rushes out at you while you're walking through a neighborhood. You know, it's the same thing, I believe. You can take them to court. But back then, it was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yeah, that dog would be killed, or that animal would be killed. And you know what? If you were told that your dog or your animal was used to attacking people before, and you did nothing about it, and now it kills someone, guess what? You can pay with your life, and your animal is going to be killed. So I think it was so fair. And I know some people today may still live by the eye for eye, tooth for tooth rule. But I think that's when Jesus came. Why he came? He realized that we were not showing any mercy or love. And God is a God of love and mercy. So all of these contained in chapter 21 are judgments for wrongdoing, whether it is humans or animals, because animals don't navigate themselves. They are under somebody's jurisdiction. Somebody owns the animal. So if they hurt someone, the owner is responsible. Even today, it is the same. So this is more or less what the recap was for the judgments of the people of Israel. So, I mean, it is straight, steadfast. Cursing your parents was a big deal. I don't know if anybody is that goal. I remember talking to my middle schoolers one time. Don't you dare even talk back to your parents, because that's dishonoring. That is the 5th commandment. Honor thy father and thy mother. Don't even be that disrespectful. You can be upset. I used to be upset sometimes when my mom disciplined me, but dare I speak back to her? Wouldn't be here today even. She didn't play. And that's not what God wants us to do. Our parents are like standing in God's place, truth be told. Good or bad, we are not supposed to disrespect them. Let's see what else was stated in here. Yeah, about your servants, about your animals, about here even if people were saying that the Bible supports slavery, it says here, if you steal a man and sell him, you shall be put to death. Because that's what a lot of people did. Those slave hunters, whatever they called them back then, they would go find people who were never slaves and take them and sell them back to the plantations and say that they found slaves. Yeah, you were not supposed to do that. And even back in those places where people were stolen and sold into slavery in Africa and wherever else. And even today, when we still hear about human trafficking, that was punishable by death back then. You were doing stuff like that, you would be put to death. Today, it's big money. God is going to be judging, and nobody can say that God is an unfair judge. So here we have the whole list of judgments on people who did for whatever whatever wrongdoings they may have done, them and their beasts. They were held accountable, and the judgments that would pursue. You put out somebody's eye, yours would have gotten put out. Your tooth, same thing, tooth for tooth, eye for eye. And that was it. This is what God had for them as they sojourned through the wilderness. He had to give them laws and judgments. You have over 500,000 people that you need to control, and there needs to be laws. God's law is still binding even today. So once again, thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening. I hope you were inspired, informed, or had some quick thought when you heard something from the reading. Again, faith comes by hearing God's word. Have an awesome day. Enjoy. Bye.